Hola everybody, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm filming a video dedicated on self-harm and mental health. First off, I just want to say if you're looking for a video that's going to promote this, like self-harm, you clicked on the wrong video. This is a video to help you guys identify forms of self-harm. Basically, let's just open up this discussion on this topic, and I haven't really talked about self-harm in a while, and I thought it would be really important to talk about it. I think most people would identify self-harm as cuts on your wrists, inner thighs, on your bikini line, but there are many other forms of self-harm. So self-harm is an addiction. Whoever is self-harming, they become addicted to the chemicals released, the endorphins released. When they do that, that becomes an addiction, which is so unhealthy and is more common in young adults, young teenagers, but there are older adults who do continue to self-harm, and any person from a walk of life can self-harm, because self-harm is not just cutting yourself, it's not just burning yourself, it's not just scratching or picking at your scabs. It is also alcoholism, drinking so much alcohol when you cannot cope with life. It's also, doing drugs, having a drug abuse issue because that is your way of kind of being like, I don't deserve to be here, so I'm just gonna fucking numb everything out with drugs. If I'm looking down, it's because I've got some notes here. Hitting yourself, smacking yourself. I remember there was this girl in my high school, and when she got mad, she would dig her nails into her skin, and I never really thought it was self-harm, and now when I think about it, every time she was angry at herself, and she would rip at her skin. It wasn't considered an issue because she wasn't bleeding, but it's still hurting yourself. It's still a form of self-harm. I remember when I was 7 years old, when my parents would yell at me, I would run to the backyard and mosquitoes would eat me, and I'd be like, fucking let them eat me. I don't deserve to be here. I deserve to get a disease and die. It's crazy how our thinking was like that at such a young age. I remember thinking that at 7 years old. What the hell? Being like, I don't deserve to be here, so I'm gonna let these mosquitoes eat me. This is stuff that we need to identify for us to fix. Even scratching yourself or picking at your skin. I remember when I stopped self-harming because I had already all these scabs on my skin. For me to feel that pleasure from the addiction of self-harming, I would just scratch my scabs off for months. They would just never heal because I would just keep scratching them, and for me I'd be like, oh, I'm clean, I'm not hurting myself, but I knew in reality I was, because I was continuously reopening these wounds. Before we can even fix these issues, we have to identify it. Self-harm is an addiction. How do we fix addiction? So there are many TED Talks that you can watch on addiction. There are many YouTube videos you can watch on addiction. I have plenty of videos about addiction as well too. I will put some up in the cards as well, and also in the end screen. May also have mentioned this in those videos, but I watched this TED Talk and they talk about this rat theory, right? So they got this rat, put it in a cage, and they gave it a bottle of drug water and a bottle of regular water. This rat was so bored, it just kept drinking drug water, drug water, drug water, drug water. They were like, okay, you know what? We gave it a bigger cage, we put swings, we put slides, tunnels, blankets, all these cool toys. We'll add some other rats in there, and that rat ended up not drinking the drug water anymore. It started just drinking the regular water. And this experiment kind of teaches us that if our environment is beautiful, amazing, stimulating, we won't be running back to our addictions. We won't be running back to things that don't help us as people, such as drugs, for example. For us to help someone with an addiction, you have to make their environment a beautiful one. You have to show them support, you have to show them that they are loved, you have to show them that life is worth living, and it's obviously easier said than done. It's obviously easier to be like, dude, calm down, life is worth living, you know what I mean? Being more gentle with them. I know that it's normal for us to approach addiction and be like, why don't you just stop smoking? Or why don't you just stop that? You can't just stop. But what you can do, for example, if your friend is always at home smoking weed, and I don't have anything against smoking weed, but let's say they're getting to the point where they're not dealing with their problems and all they're doing is smoking weed every freaking 10 minutes, right? You're not gonna go up to them and just be like, why don't you just stop? Why don't you just chill out? The best way to help them out of that is take them out of that smoking environment. Let's go to the park. let's go to IKEA, let's go to the beach, like let's go do something. You find that when you're out doing things with them, giving them a good environment to enjoy, they don't think about their addiction. They don't feel the need to fall back into their addiction. So I wrote here collective mind theory. So for example, let's think about this, like rappers at the moment. All these lean, as in like these rappers that drink lean, do Xanax, benzos, Valium, those are popping up because that is what the rest of the world are feeling like they need to rely on. Like these rappers are talking about things that don't make them happy, and then they're talking about the ways they cope with it, such as, you know, doing lots of Xanax or doing lots of Valium, doing a lot of drugs basically. And we all kind of like hop into this music and it becomes popular at the moment, what's trendy at the moment, you know, sad boy rap, all that stuff, because we all feel that way and we all are kind of like tuned in on, we feel this pain that we have inside and we just want to numb it out. And most of the times it's drugs, and maybe years ago it was weed, and now it's Xanax and benzos and downers, you know what I mean? Maybe 5 years ago it was just alcohol, let's get drunk every night. Like, we are all hopping onto these sad boy rappers because we are all sad people. Does that make sense? And so there are trends of self-harm. Even just like slicing yourself was like such a trend on the internet. On Instagram, there was so many pro self-harm pages. Even I was watching these and keeping up with these, and thank God Instagram and Tumblr and all these social media websites has really like cracked down on these pro Anna, pro self-harm, pro bulimia accounts. And I also forgot that, you know, having an eating disorder is also a form of self-harm. Not eating right, starving yourself, not putting healthy foods into your body. Listen to those who are crying, because these rappers are crying for help and we are losing them left, right, and center. We have to listen to it. There are so many deaths, especially with the rapper community, that we could have avoided if we paid more attention to what they were crying for. They were crying for help, and that's why I think it was really nice that it's 3 o'clock. I think it was really nice that everyone was kind of really concerned about Post Malone, even though he said like, no, this is just me performing, like this is just my stage presence, this is just like an act basically. I think it was really nice that the internet was so concerned about him being like, are you on too many drugs? Like, are you suffering from addiction? Like, are you okay basically? I think that was really appropriate because we are so tired and so sad of like losing all these amazing celebrities who have been crying for help. A lot of the celebrities and rappers that we've lost due to drug addiction, which is a form of self-harm, they've cried for help and we've just ignored it. Now we are starting to identify these forms of self-harm, and that's why I'm making this video, because it is important to, in yourself, in your friends, in your family, in your community, in the artists you listen to, and the people you follow on Instagram. And then I also wrote here, doing it for attention. I think this is like a common topic I talk about in all of my self-harm videos. If you're gonna sit here and be like, oh, people are just self-harming for attention, I'm telling you right now, that is such a closed-minded way of thinking, because anyone who is crying out for help by slicing their skin, by physically hurting themselves, obviously need help. If they are crying out for help and you think it's because of attention, does that not mean they need help? They obviously still need help. Imagine like feeling so much pain and not being able to express it, that they feel the need to take it out on their bodies. Make me emotional, because I can't believe, like, as a society we are in so much pain. To make this a more positive video, rewiring our brain is my next point. Change our conditioning. It's hard to just like cut an addiction out. You replace an addiction with another addiction. I think this is very true, because when I quit smoking cigarettes, I started smoking more bud and like more weed, and then when I stopped smoking weed, I started smoking more cigarettes. But if you replace a unhealthy addiction with a healthy addiction, I think that's totally fine. For example, how I stopped slicing my skin as a form of self-harm, I started being addicted to taking care of my skin. Where the fuck's my coconut oil? My coconut oil is right here. So I just started getting addicted to like moisturizing my skin. It really helped that I started to get tattoos because one, they covered up old scars and didn't trigger me, and also because I got into the habit of like keeping them moisturized. And then when people would tell me like, oh wow, your tattoos held up really well, I'm like, cool, because I fucking moisturize every day. And the more you take care of, like, for example, your skin, it kind of like replaces that addiction of wanting to hurt yourself through your skin into being like, I work so hard taking care of it, making it smooth, like keeping it young, keeping it like fresh, basically. Why do I want to ruin that? When you take care of yourself, even in such a simple way of just moisturizing like your elbows or something, you're slowly rewiring your brain to love yourself. Even if you hate having to force yourself to self-care, you doing it is rewiring your brain, telling you that it's good to, you know, like that you have to, that it's something to do, that you're supposed to do. We were all born with a certain type of conditioning, whether that's, oh, you have to go to school to succeed, or whether that's you have to go to university to become an important member of society. These conditionings are something that we need to stop. For example, I remember changing my conditioning about the way I see animals on plates. I used to just see meat on my plate and be like, not know where it comes from, not know what had to be done for this meat to be on my plate, and changing my conditioning of this being meat, beef, pork, to this is an animal, this is a pig, this is a cow, this isn't pork, this is a pig. And I had to change that conditioning for myself, for me to be like, I don't want to support an industry raping, torturing, enslaving animals for our own taste buds. It's hard to stop that conditioning because everybody in the world has that conditioning, and it makes you feel kind of alone, like having debates with people being like, well, I'm gonna eat bacon because it tastes good, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna rape your kid because it feels good. Like, I'm sorry that's so vulgar, but like you feel alone when you're changing your conditioning. But then it makes you realize that you can be a human and that everyone else is lacking the human bone. And it's okay to be human when everyone else isn't. I wrote this don't count the days because my dad told this to me when I was young in high school, and I was like, no dad, like I'm doing better, like I haven't self-harmed in 30 days or something like that. And he's like, well, if you're gonna quit forever, why are you counting the days? Like, if you're gonna be fine forever, like if you say you're gonna stop forever, why are you counting the days? Don't count the days. It's okay to be proud of yourself, but don't count those days. Don't be like 1 day without it, 2 days without it. If you want to stop forever, if you're going to stop forever, why are there a number of days? I can't tell you right now how many days I've been clean, because the second I was like, I'm gonna stop this and I'm stopping it forever and I'm not gonna go back into this addiction, I never counted the days after that. All the times where I fell back into the addiction, it was because I was counting the days. It's okay if I do it now because I've been clean for 30 days, so I guess it's fine to fall back because I've done so well. No, don't do it at all. Seek help, whether that's professional help through a counselor, through, you know, a teacher, from a friend, a cousin. Basically seek help, whether that's even going online. And if you're afraid to reach out to anybody, please reach out to me. My Instagram is universal.hobo. I check my DMs. Sometimes I'm really slow at replying, but if there's any questions you have, like, I'll definitely try my best to try help you, and I'll put all of the links I can in the description for all my other self-harm related videos. And then I have here, don't compete, we are all drowning. I think this was really an issue when I was in school. It was kind of like, oh, like her issues aren't really that important because her scars aren't deep. My scars are so deep. My scars, you can see my flesh. My scars, I had to get stitches for. And her scars are just like scratches. This is not a competition. Like, wake the fuck up. Like, this is not a competition of who's in more pain. We are all drowning. We are all suffering. We all just show it in different ways. And it's not a competition who is hurting more. Like, when I look back thinking about like my preteen years and like the friends I was around, it was almost like a competition. And I'm just gonna say this right now, we are all drowning. Your issues are not less important or more important than somebody else. Remember that sometimes we take 3 steps forward and we take 2 steps back, and sometimes we do really well keeping away from our addiction, and then sometimes we take a step back. But the most important thing is not to beat yourself up and be like, fuck, what's the point in even trying to help myself? I just keep failing. The point is get back up. It doesn't matter how many times you fall back down, it's about how many times you get back up. The more you get back up, the more you're pushing yourself to get back up. You're gaining those muscles, bro. You're gaining. Let's go to Gainesville, because you're gaining every time. It's not about how many times you fall. The more you fall down, the more you pick yourself back up, the stronger these muscles get. And I just want to like motivate you guys to just not give up. I know it might suck when you fall back down with addiction, whether that's alcoholism or drugs or self-harm or whatever. The important thing is to keep moving forward. And I want to wish you guys good luck on your journey, and I want to thank you all so much for also being part of my journey. I started my YouTube channel like 5-6 years ago, and I was very, very broken. I was still self-harming heavily. You know, you guys believed in me, and I saw this one quote, and it was, some people, they need someone else to believe in them before they start to learn to believe in themselves. And I think that was me. I think I needed someone to believe in me for me to believe in myself. And that was you guys. That was you guys believing in me. And now I'm gonna return the favor and say, I believe in you. I believe you can get out of this. I believe you can help yourself and help the people in your life. I believe you can create a good environment for yourself to help yourself get out of an addiction. If I believe in you, I really hope that you can believe in yourself too. And best of luck. Why am I getting so emotional? Best of luck to everybody. I'm such an, like, I swear I'm an empath, because anytime I think about like anybody else's struggles, I lose my voice and my eyes get teary. But yeah, good luck guys, and let me know what other type of videos you'd like me to make. And like I said, the rest of my self-harm or mental health related videos will be posted up here, as well as the cards and the description below. Love you all. Take care. Bye.